Oh, he's got presenter, it's just off, okay. Perfect.
You ready, Dr. Zachary?
Yes.
Trustee Townsend. You ready?
Yeah.
I'm trying to get.
We're ready.
The time is 6:30. I'd like to call this regular Board of Education meeting to order. At this time, the first item on our agenda is the roll call of those Board of Education members who are present. Trustee Goodrich, could you perform the roll call, please?
Certainly, Madam President. Trustee Townsend.
Present.
Trustee Schindler. Trustee Fields.
Here.
Trustee Gainsley. Trustee Goodrich, I'm here. Vice President Lee.
Here.
President Hawkins.
Here. We have 5 Board of Education members who are present and 2 who are absent at this time. Next, that takes us to the Pledge of Allegiance, and I would like to invite members of the public and all those present to join us in reciting the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next, that takes us to the acceptance of the agenda. Is there a motion at this time to accept the agenda as presented?
Madam President, Vice President Lee, move that the Board of Education accept the agenda as presented.
Thank you. A motion has been made by Vice President Lee. Is there support for this motion?
Trustee, go ahead. Trustee Fields, I support.
Thank you. Supported by Trustee Fields. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? That motion carries. Next, that takes us to achievements, awards, and recognition. And at this time, I will turn it over to Dr. Zachary Ross.
Thank you, Madam President. The Board of Education has had a tradition of bringing in our buildings to share the points of pride. And we have our Leader in Me School, Erickson Elementary, who is here led by Principal Mickle. If you come and bring your points of pride.
Should I put it down or am I good? All right, good evening, board. Dr. Zachary Ross, thank you so much for inviting us today. We put together a presentation and have some students who want to share some of their points of pride as well. So I want to start out with saying that we are a Leader in Me School. I don't know if you can see the presentation. There it is. We are a Leader in Me School, and what that means is that I'm echoing. We're good. Okay. So what that means is we live the 7 habits of highly effective people, and translated for students, it's the 7 habits of happy kids. And so the habits are: be proactive, begin with an end in mind, put first things first, think win-win, seek first to understand, then be understood, synergize, sharpen the saw, and there's habit number 8 is find your voice. And we believe the quote on the screen, leadership is communicating people's worth and potential so clearly that they are inspired to see it in themselves. And our students at Erickson absolutely do that. And it starts with our communication crew. So Andrea is one member of our communication crew. And we're just going to give you a little bit of a sample of part of the morning announcements. Promise it worked earlier. While we're waiting, I want to thank Miss Kane, our student teacher in fifth grade, who made this soundbite possible. I had to maybe do it in person. Okay. So every morning we do morning announcements and we always start with our daily affirmations. Do you remember every single one? No, they usually make their own script in the morning. So maybe you could share what you love about being part of the communications crew. Go ahead and tell them.
So I like, that I can like help with the mic and have, the Edison students like get up and follow us along with saying. I like to be heard across the mic.
She has certainly found her voice. So what that soundbite was, every morning we do daily affirmations as a way to start our day right. And so the announcement team says it, and then the students in the classroom repeat after them. And so everybody in the school is doing their daily affirmations so that they can be in the mindset of learning each day. And that's followed by the pledge and our school mission. So we are also very proud of our project-based learning that's happening in fifth grade. And so this is why project-based learning, it gives students the application for real-world learning, and it matches the standards. And so students are really excited to participate in project-based learning. It really connects them with their curriculum and gives a purpose for their learning. And it also highlights their leadership and presentation skills. And so I'm going to ask Ms. Crowley and Ms. Johnson to talk a little bit about the first project they did this year.
So this is the first, hopefully, of very many projects we do this year. We want to start out with getting to know our students. So we started an identity project that included them creating their own logo. So they learned about the design process. We followed the project-based learning model where we do an entry document and we do a knows and needs to knows chart where they ask us questions about the project and get a real feel about their involvement in their own learning. During the process of learning, we went through a variety of workshops to get them to understand how professionals use logos and how they use logos and the design that they use to engage and attract customers. So the colors that they use mean something, the font that they use means something. So they have to keep that in mind when creating their logo. And then the final process of the logo project was the presentation. And this was their very, very first time presenting, and they blew us out of the water. I mean, I've done this with eighth graders, and I think these fifth graders did a much better job than some of the eighth graders that I worked with. And I'll let Ms. Johnson kind of speak to it as well.
Yeah, so this is actually my first year teaching in fifth grade. I usually have taught second grade or first grade. So it's been really great working with kids who are old enough developmentally to engage in some more detailed work. And so getting to see them kind of move through this process where they had to not only understand themselves, but make themselves clear to other people and to be understood by other people. It was really great to watch them go through that and get to know a little bit more about them. We're going to be spending the rest of the year together. So we want to know who they are and what's important to them and see how we can lead that into our classroom and into our fifth grade community. So it's great to get to know them this way.
Evelyn and Aria want to share their project presentation.
My name is Evelyn and this is my logo. I am in fifth grade. I am in fifth grade and I like to play volleyball. I wanted my logo to show that I am colorful and unique.
There's more. There's a little more. Into the round of applause.
I chose positive because that's me and my favorite colors are green, purple, and pink. There's two more. My favorite rough draft is the one on the right because it tells my favorite things. I changed my rough draft by adding more color and more design and detail.
Hello, thank you. Hello, my name is Arya, and this is my logo. I'm a fifth grade student at Erickson Elementary, and I love slime, pugs, and music. And I'm smart, kind, and super friendly. I wanted my logo to show that I am creative, playful, and very brave. And these are some of my important elements. I chose 56 because it's my lucky number. My favorite rough draft is the one with the caution tape and slime dripping off. I changed my rough draft by adding less accessories and more color, and by adding more light colors.
And we just included some other points of pride at Erickson. So our Grizzly Sunrise Club, which is our morning before school high dosage tutoring program, is really off to an amazing start. They're using the Michigan Learning Channel curriculum, and Mr. Moore, who is our coordinator, wanted to be here tonight, but his son is like in a championship baseball game of some sort, so he regretfully couldn't be here. They also do Moby-Max, targeted lessons, reading, teamwork, educational games, read-alouds, and vocabulary practice. And it really gives those students a successful start to the day. And so these are some of the pictures of the kids in the club. They do partner reading. They do little activities for spelling. They use the computers for the Michigan Learning Channel, independent activity work. Students do read alouds, and they're strengthening their social skills because they build in opportunities for students to work together and learn from each other. And that's a little bit more. They also get moving in the morning and do sight word dances, and kind of have that one direct instructional time with a retired teacher who we're so lucky came back to serve as a facilitator. We're also really proud of our MTSS process and team at Erickson, which is multi-tiered systems of support. It supports students from the big picture, everything they need, and especially if a student seems to be struggling with behavior or academics, they come to the MTSS team, and our team works with teachers to provide the supports and strategies to use with those students to help them in the areas that they need to grow more in. And we utilize Panorama, so thank you to ICS for making sure we had that program, because it really helps us get the data organized in a really easy and useful way. And then we also are super proud of having student mentors, which sort of was born from our MTSS process. Some of our students just need a little extra support, and we have found that our leaders in 4th and 5th grade are just what they need. So they have scheduled times during the day that they do a check-in with their mentors. Sometimes it's just a quick meeting check-in. Sometimes it's getting together and doing some community service around the building. Or in moments of difficulty or crisis, sometimes their mentor can support them through that as well. And so we're really proud of that, and it's up and running. And in fact, at our back to school bash, one of our kiddos who was in 4th grade coming into 5th grade, the first thing he asked is, when can I start mentoring again? So it stayed with him all summer long. And so we're also really proud. This, I know, is something that was highlighted a lot last year, but one of our former Erickson students, Narence Connor, participated in this mural, and it's something that he's really proud of, and that we're really proud of him for bringing Erickson into that. And finally, we are now a heart safe school. Last February, we did a refresh training of CPR and AED use with the staff. Our nurse Mary led that, and she submitted it into the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, and we received a Heart Safe School Award for 2022 through 2025. So that's something that we're proud of, and we'll continue doing those trainings. And before I say goodnight, I want to ask Erickson staff and families to please stand up so you can be recognized. And Andrea, now that you're with us there. That was everything. So thank you so much for having us. Any questions you might have?
For the mentors, do the girls mentor the girls and the boys mentor the boys, or do girls mentor boys and?
We really look at best fit.
Okay.
So I think right now it is boys mentoring boys and girls mentoring girls, but depending on personality and need and what the mentors find to be their strengths, that's how we match up the mentees with them.
Thank you, Ms. Mickle, for showcasing all of Erickson's excellence, and a huge thanks to all of our students, families, staff who were out to join us today. Let's give everyone another round of applause. Great job. We have several other recognitions and a couple of presentations that follow. So I'm going to turn it back over to Dr. Zachary Ross to kind of run
Thank
us through
you.
all of those. Thank you.
Thank you. There are several days of recognition. We would love to just recognize everyone all the time, and we appreciate all of our staff. There are some specific national holidays that the board would like to recognize. National Custodian Day is commemorated every year on October 2nd. Custodians are the people who keep the schools and workplaces clean and running smoothly, and they work very hard to do so. So they certainly deserve a day in their honor. Custodians' work can be tireless and a thankless job, leading to custodians often being overlooked and not getting the recognition that they deserve. The origins of this unofficial holiday are unknown, although the day was added to the Chase calendar of events in 1995-96 school year, but has become a more widely recognized and celebrated in recent years. Someone recognized the need to create a day that celebrates the work of custodians who keep buildings, businesses, and schools well maintained, often working long night shifts and performing physically demanding tasks. Since we don't always see them at work, it is easy to forget that real people are keeping our workspaces and learning spaces clean when we're not there. This day serves as a reminder to everyone that custodians everywhere need to be appreciated. I don't know if you want me to, because in 2019, we saw the start of the global coronavirus pandemic, COVID-19. Custodians' jobs became more important than ever at this point, and they needed to be an extra diligent in keeping public spaces safely sanitized. This only highlighted how essential custodians are in our day-to-day lives. Custodians might also be known to many as janitors or caretakers, particularly in schools, and their role is diverse, and they do so much more than just clean. They also perform building maintenance and fix anything that is broken. Without them, buildings would fall in disarray. People wouldn't be able to do their jobs, and students wouldn't have a good, safe, and clean learning environment. Custodial work is often looked down on, but they are the oil that keeps the machine running. To show appreciation for the custodians at work or school, make sure that you are tidy and clean, keep your workplace as clean as possible, to make the custodian's jobs no harder than it has to be. Let National Custodian Day be a reminder to pay more attention to the little details around the well-stocked bathroom, the organized break room and cupboards, and remember, someone has done that for you. At Ypsilanti Community Schools, we honor, respect, and value our custodial staff Thank you for all that you do for our students, staff, and the community.
Thank you to all our custodians across the district. Let's give them a huge, huge round of applause.
October is a busy month because National School Bus Safety Week is October 16th through the 20th. Held during the third week of October each year, National School Bus Safety Week is an active and evolving public education program and an excellent way for parents, students, teachers, motorists, school bus operators, school administrators, and other interested parties to join forces and address the importance of school bus safety. Designed to promote school bus safety, school districts throughout the country observe School Bus Safety Week. At Ypsilanti Community Schools, we honor, respect, and value our transportation staff. Thank you for all that you do for our students, staff, and community.
Let us give our transportation, our National School Bus Safety Week, let's give all of our drivers, staff who help to get our kids to school safely, a huge round of applause. This is a thankless job oftentimes, and they do a very, very good job of making sure that our students get to where they need to safely.
And our director, Annette Adams, is here. Our new director is here today. So thank you for what you do. Next, October is recognized as the National Principals Month. Each October, National Principals Month recognizes the essential role that principals play in making a school great. Principals are among the hardest working yet often least recognized individuals in education. Principals set the academic tone for their schools, and it is their vision, dedication, and determination that provide the mobilizing force for achieving student success. Each October, NASSP, NAESP, and AFSA seek to honor these unsung heroes for their tireless efforts in pursuit of excellence in education. National Principals Month is a widely recognized celebration of the principalship, marked by national and state resolutions supporting the event, as well as acknowledgements from the U.S. senators and representatives and top government officials. However, the most important National Principals Month celebrations are the ones that take place in schools and communities across the country. At Ypsilanti Community Schools, we honor, respect, and value our building administrators. Thank you for all that you do for our students, staff, and community.
Let's give our exceptional principals a huge round of applause.
No, Ms. Mickle is here, so we thank you
Yes.
for representing all the other building administrators. Thank you for what you do. Oh, I do see, I didn't even see you over there. You came in later. Hi, there is one of our newest principals who's changed roles, Ms. Leslie Davis. Thank you for your service and what you do. All right, we have a secondary and elementary. What a wonderful opportunity.
Next, that takes us to two presentations, and I'll turn it back over to Dr. Zachary Ross to introduce those to us this evening.
Thank you so much. We have guests from Lambert who are here. They are they will do an overview of the communication activities that have been taking place throughout the district to help keep our community informed and to just share after the board had approved the PR company, what is it that they do, what's the overview, and what's the vision moving forward. Thank you, Joe, for being here.
Thank you. Honorable board members, Dr. Zachary Ross, cabinet members, and community members. I'm Joe DiBenedetto. I also love slime, pugs, and music, our young friend. So if I had known. So it's great to be here this evening with you. I appreciate the time. We've been working with the school district for 6 weeks at this point. And it's been a flurry of activity to this point, and we're really excited about what the future holds. As I mentioned, I'm Joe DiBenedetto. I'm a managing director at Lambert. I head up our education practice, work with schools across the state and the country, and have worked with schools for 25 plus years. I'm joined by my colleagues, Megan Wallowik, who's a senior associate, and Sierra Steele, who's an associate. And beyond the two of us, the three of us, excuse me, there's a whole team. We have about 100 people at Lambert in Michigan and across the country, from, with various diverse expertise in communication service areas, from media relations to website design to social media, et cetera. So while there's only three of us here, there is a full team of professionals, communications professionals at our firm who are at the school district's disposal. So again, thank you for welcoming us this evening to chat a bit about, what we're doing and hope to do, expect to do over the next, excuse me, 8-9 months. So what is our objective? Our objective is to keep the community informed of activities and issues related to the schools. There is, as we've already seen here this evening, there is so much to be proud of in the schools. Unfortunately, a lot of it does not get promoted or publicized or covered in the media. We know that. So it's important to do as best we can to keep the community informed about the wonderful programs, the innovative programs, the incredible people who are leading our classrooms, who are leading the district, new initiatives, that are worth highlighting, such as these LEAP and SEEK programs that the district has received grants for. We need to make sure that the community remains informed about these new programs, what they mean to the district and to the community. Events and activities, things that are happening within the classroom or in the schools, the Leader in Me program at Erickson, again, highlighting those types of programs and resources, keeping that in front of not only your parents, but the larger community as a whole, so that they can understand what their investment in the district, what does that mean? How is that coming to fruition? Notable achievements. Again, you've got an incredible team of professionals leading the classroom, leading the school buildings, who are receiving awards. I know that Ypsilanti Community Schools has had a Teacher of the Year award winner recipients for multiple years recently, and making sure that that is being amplified across the community. And financial stewardship. Again, ensuring that the community is aware that the resources that they are providing are, being managed appropriately and effectively to drive student success. So that is our objective in working collaboratively with the school leadership. So what is our approach? So our approach is, one, we want to make sure that when folks see materials from Ypsilanti Community Schools, that it's easily recognizable, that there is consistency within the materials. This is an example here of strengthening the school brand, so that, again, when something appears on social media, one, it pops, it's visually appealing, but it's easily recognizable as, oh, okay, those are our colors, that is our messaging, those are our people. So we want to make sure that in, what we are developing, there is consistency and frequency, so that it is readily apparent when folks see messaging that it is from Ypsilanti Community Schools. So among the things that we're hoping to do over this school year is, one, student spotlights, and building those in a way, again, that, jumps off the page of your social media platforms. It's digestible, it's brief, but it's impactful. And, playing off the Stronger Together messaging that has been effective for the past couple of years. And demonstrating, again, it's wonderful, that, parents are typically very supportive, and will remain so, but you also want to make sure that you are inviting the rest of the community, in understanding what role they play, and that ultimately together the district is stronger. So by educating, by having frequent educator spotlights to demonstrate the talent across the district, student spotlights, spotlights reinforce the value of the education and other materials, that we will be developing in tandem with the district consistently across social media so that there's that regular cadence and people come to expect to see these things week in and week out. We've begun building these things and you'll start seeing them more frequently as we move forward in our engagement with the district. So again, playing off the Stronger Together theme, because it's perfect. It's a perfect message, especially given the consolidation, the 10-year anniversary of the consolidation of Ypsilanti Public Schools and Willow Run Community Schools. This is an opportunity for us to, again, demonstrate and reinforce the symbiotic relationship between the district and the community, that it takes both working cohesively in order to get where we want to go. So our objective here will be to develop consistent communications to reinforce transparency. We want the community to understand that we are an open book, that we are proud of the work that Ypsilanti Community Schools is doing. Here's the information that you need to know, and encouraging them to engage and communicate with us. Highlighting community partnerships. What better way to reinforce the value and impact of the community's involvement than celebrating those who are already out in front and are strong partners of the district. So ensure that we are highlighting their participation and their partnership. Hosting fireside chats with key community voices. Typically will be led by the superintendent, talking to other key community members, such as the board president, community partners, some cabinet members. But this is an opportunity, through these videos, 10, 15-minute, brief conversations to capitalize on the popularity of video, which will be, seen across the district's social media channels, to give greater insight into why decisions are made. Again, what programs, are we highlighting? So it's just an effective way of keeping the community informed. Creating activations and celebrations. We certainly want to, celebrate the 10-year anniversary, the successful 10-year anniversary of the consolidation. So working in tandem with the school district in developing activations and celebrations, either at a district-wide level or at schools, looking at towards the end of the year, a district-wide 10-year anniversary celebration of the consolidation, but also looking at other opportunities, throughout the school year, to engage and invite the community to engage with the district. Highlighting young leaders of Ypsilanti. We saw a couple of them here this evening, and you saw my colleague taking photos. It's a great way of again, illustrating what is happening in our schools, how Ypsilanti Community Schools is impacting the lives of young students, from kindergarten through 12th grade. So being more intentional and more frequent with how we are celebrating those young minds in our classrooms. Celebrating the school district team. The district is fortunate to have a strong team of leaders, not just in the superintendent, but its cabinet members as well, former superintendents and other leaders. That is something that not every school district can say, especially with the attrition that we've seen across Michigan at the leadership level. So that is something that is a differentiator for the district, and one, that consistency is something, and the level of talent is something that we should celebrate. And supporting all day, everyday messaging. We need our kids in our classrooms all day, every day, not just count day. Yes, that's important, but we need to see kids in our classrooms all day, every day, because that's where the impact truly happens. So just continuing to push that messaging across in our communications materials that we develop in tandem with the district. We also want to celebrate the how the district is unapologetically authentic. Not easy to say, but it's true. Based on, we were blown away, my colleagues and I, when we first sat down with the district and we were saying, okay, what are your differentiators? And we were really impressed with the long list of things that they shared, that the team shared, from the newcomer center to the seal of biliteracy, to the K-12 insights and the grants that I mentioned previously. These are all things that really do rise above and make the district unique. So we certainly want to amplify messaging as it relates and make sure the community is aware of all of these incredible programs that the district has available to its students and families. And then again, the 10-year anniversary. We want to make sure that we are commemorating the 10-year anniversary of district consolidation. Certainly, wasn't easy in the beginning, and there have been, some challenges along the way. But 10 years later, things, the district is strong and in a strong position, and that is something that we need to reinforce with the community. That here we are, 10 years, 10 years down from when the consolidation started, and because of our commitment to working together, here's where we are and why we should celebrate. So how we're going to work with the district here is just again, consistent messaging regarding 10 years of excellence, highlighting some of the celebrations, those key moments throughout the 10 years, the last 10 years, that those key decisions that have been made, reinforcing those and calling attention to, this didn't happen overnight. We know that there were challenges, but here we are, much stronger 10 years together. Highlighting 10 key partners, again, going back to the importance of welcoming in the community and demonstrating the value that they bring to the district, and celebrating those who were integral in helping the district, working with the district over the past 10 years. And again, highlighting those 10 key decisions. So as you can see, there will be consistent messaging regarding the 10-year anniversary and where the district is today, but more importantly, where the district's going tomorrow. Yes, let's celebrate the last 10 years, but more importantly, let's look forward as well. And just briefly, how are we going to do that? There are a number of ways. I've already mentioned, social media channels, the Facebook and website page, but, part of our expertise is in working with traditional media, the local television stations, print media, digital media as well, and making sure that Ypsilanti Community Schools is being highlighted across those various outlets. So most recently with the Operation Warm program that provided coats to a number of elementary students, we reached out to multiple TV stations, and we were fortunate to have a couple come down and cover that event. Dr. Zachary Ross has been interviewed by Chalkbeat numerous times, and is scheduled to be interviewed tomorrow by MLive regarding the district's integration of artificial intelligence, how it's embracing it, not running away from it like many schools are. So we will look to create greater visibility for the school through the various communications channels that are available to us. And with that, I thank you for, I think I went a little bit over, so apologies. But I appreciate again the opportunity to speak with you and present, how we will be working together with the district, and I'm ready to answer any questions that you may have. So thank you again.
Questions, board members? Trustee Fields, yes.
I have a question when we're just thinking back on your communication panel.
Yes.
It's ironic, someone told me, I think it's 4 or 7, something was with the codes last week.
Yeah.
Someone, I didn't know about it though, but somebody else that saw it. Can we know about that? Is there like a link that goes out? I may have missed it, but do we share that so that we can be able to either see it or look forward to seeing it, something like that? Can we have something like that put in place?
Absolutely.
Okay.
What we typically will do is we will repurpose it all across social media, because we know not everybody is watching news at the same time. So, but we provide to the superintendent as well, and perhaps she can share with the board, or we can do so, as well as just as an FYI. And we also, at the end of each month, we provide a report, on our work, over the past 30 days, that will include links to, the media coverage, any media coverage and other critical areas of communication that Dr. Zachary Ross can share with the board as well. So it's pretty concise, but gives you, a good look into what we've been doing, and it also provides insight into, again, where we're going in the next month.
But just like, I don't wanna wait till the end, I don't wanna wait till you give me a report, like when you.
Oh, understood.
When it happens as it's going on
Yep.
or about to happen, I would like to know that, I just like to look at that, cause I think it's nice, but then we can keep sharing it, people can see it. But someone said that to me, I'm like, I don't know nothing about that, but they was like, I think I saw Holmes, I think it was, maybe, was it Holmes? Yeah, someone said, I think I saw your school, I'm like, oh, that's neat, I didn't know nothing about it, but it would've been really nice if we had kind of like say, hey, they were there, even if we didn't actually see it there, but we.
Yeah, normally we won't see it until the next day, and then we'll send a link to the superintendent, but we can share that with the board as well moving forward. So because sometimes they say they're going to come to a school, and then breaking news happens, there's an accident, a 30-car pileup somewhere, and they can't show, so.
But this did happen, thank you,
Yep.
I was impressed, they
Yep.
were impressed as well.
Hopefully much more to come.
Yes.
Yes, thanks so much for the presentation. I was, I'm a bit of a communications nerd, so I was excited about the branding and the consistent branding and the examples that you shared. But I think one of the really powerful things that our team has been doing communications wise is that some of our principals and our school leaders have stepped up and been doing their own communication. Shout out to Mrs. Davis, Mr. Davis, have been doing a lot of that. So I was gonna ask, are those going to become like templates that our school leaders can use themselves and be able to customize?
Yeah, I mean, we can. It's not something that we've discussed to this point, but, we can certainly work in collaboration with principals as well. We want to give them freedom. We know how critical their voice is, and communicating with their parents each week, but we can certainly, again, working in tandem with the superintendent's office, develop some templates that can be utilized by the individual schools as well. So there is that, again, that consistency in brand across the district.
Thank you.
So it's a great question. Thank you.
Other board questions?
Yes, I did have some questions. Again, thank you for the presentation. So that I'm understanding, will you be managing the website and the social media accounts or no?
We will have insight into social media, and we'll be doing a lot of the posting there. The district will also remain involved. As far as the website, we will provide content, but we will not be managing the website. So we'll provide stories and things along those lines that will be updated on the website.
Okay, and then the other thing is, so how often would you be providing data in regards to the information, what you're doing, so we can kind of know what's working, what's not working, those types of things?
Yeah, so each month, at the end of each month, we'll provide an overview of what took place the previous month, and what we're doing the following month. And, again, we can, as we continue our partnership, if it makes sense for us to provide a quarterly report, we can do that as well. We typically provide an end of year report that summarizes, what we've done over the past school year. So that would be in June. But again, we can work with Dr. Zachary Ross and figure out what's the right cadence and specific information that the board is looking for.
Okay, and then when we're doing outside communications with the media, will there be is that going to still be coming through the superintendent, or will you all be handling the formal communication, say for the news outlets and all of that? And will there be a template as far as like documentation going out, those types of things with the proper branding and all of that?
Not sure I am. So we are basically a conduit to the media. We are, we work closely with the media for the district, but we don't speak for the district typically. Sometimes they quote us when they shouldn't, which happened recently, but we typically want the district to be the spokespeople and Dr. Zachary Ross, whomever she designates. But as far as we're not doing any advertising or anything along those lines, our primary focus is on earned media. So it's, getting like the Operation Warm program covered by TV or MLive covering a story. At this point, we're not doing any advertising for the district.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other board questions?
Oh, the last thing is, I know, for instance, will we still have someone attending Park Ridge meetings? Would that be on them or would that just be internal for us?
No, we have 2 internal people that attend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, folks.
Next, that takes us to our presentation on talent management. Dr. Zachary Ross.
Thank you. Each year, a part of the MASB Field Book, you have a opportunity to make sure that we're providing updates on class sizes, staffing, and enrollment. And this is the yearly report that you receive on talent management by our Human Resource Director, Sue McCarty. So it'll look very similar to last year's, just with updated information, because this is the template that they've given us.
Good evening, Madam President and members of the Board of Education. Thank you, Solomon. This is a point in time report. So what we did was we took the data as of October 10th. So this is all data as of October 10th. So looking at some of our wins, in August, we hired 63 new teachers. We still have our $1,000 signing bonus as well as a $1,000 recruitment bonus that many of our staff have taken advantage of. We still have the $2,500 highly effective thanks to the SEEK grant. Our EL enrollment is up. It's 77% this year. It's up by 1.1% from last year. Oops, we have the K2 Spanish immersion program is now K2. Last year it was K1. We added 2nd grade over at Estabrook. And our partnership with MARC has been really fruitful. And this year we hired 10 MARC teachers as opposed to 8 from the previous year. And we'll continue to cultivate that relationship. Has really worked out very well. They do summer Grizzly Learning Camp and then apply and are placed in the school year. Wow. Let me get this together. And are placed in the 23-24 school year or whatever school year we're in. This is the dashboard that you guys are used to seeing. And it just tells you how many staff we have in each category, as well as where we're getting most of our staff recommendations from. It still continues to be frontline. So frontline where they apply online through the WISD, all of the districts in the area. So that still continues to be our best pipeline for new staffing. And then this is what staff vacancies look like this year. And it's similar but different from last year. Last year we had 41 vacancies at this time. This year we have 48. And this is what they look like by building. And I attribute that increase to a severe shortage in the special education area, social workers, teachers, speech and language. It's a severe shortage. We continue to strategize, working with all kinds of companies, recruiting, various things, trying to get the additional special education staff in place. We do continue to have a shortage in paraprofessionals. We'll continue to recruit for that. So anybody listening, paraprofessionals, you just need a high school diploma and a clean background. Student enrollment. So this is as of October 9th. And it's unaudited numbers, but this is what we look like by individual buildings. So we're up in Beatty and Ford. We're up in Wise. Estabrook had a considerable increase for 43. 14 at Wyma, 31 at the high school, and we attribute some of the increases at the high school to an increase in the EL population. We overall, at this point, we are up 44 students from last year's count. There we go. And then here's what the EL population looks like across the district, and you can see the increases are at Ford, Estherbrook, Holmes, and then all through our secondaries. And like I alluded to earlier, this is a 1.1% increase from last year's EL population. Preschool counts, we take these out individually because they don't go into the K-12 population. So looking at Ford, we have 109 Head Start GSRPs and a grand total of 333 with 97 at Perry and 127 at Beatty. The current contract class sizes have not changed because the contract is still in place. So we still have 25 for kindergarten, 28 for first and second, 32 pretty much throughout the secondary, with exception to ACE that has a 16 ratio, student to teacher ratio. The virtual classes that are at YC2S mirror what the secondary numbers are in elementary as well. So recruitment, what are we doing for recruitment? So we have the Talent Management Committee. Talent Management Committee meets on a monthly basis, and we seek new ways to recruit staff, to retain staff, ideas for programs. And it's a team across the district of people who volunteer to be on the committee. We try to get someone from each department, facilities, transportation, teachers, parapros, and we'll send out a new invitation to see if anybody this year would like to join in addition to the current team. We utilize many funds from Seek and Leap to be able to pay those stipends that we discuss and to have innovative programs. For example, today we discussed some of our school nurses want to be nationally certified. That is an approved expense in Seek, so we're gonna send that out to the nurses and see who's interested. Three of them said that they're interested in doing that, as well as using the district website, the EMU Parent Teacher Program, Proud Michigan Educators. And are you familiar with Proud Michigan Educators, where people return back into the system? And then we're using our YCS virtual career fairs, our in-district email. We use all of MASA and their affiliates to recruit. We use, as I indicated earlier, Grizzly Learning Camp, Facebook, Indeed, Emark, Teachers for America, Teachers of Tomorrow, Handshake through the collegiate resource, Frontline, Michigan Works. And here's some of the retention strategies that we are using. Right now, our professional development is second to none. It's a phenomenal opportunities for everybody in the district. We have a mentoring program that is, oh my gosh, I lost the word, but it's customized to each group. So if you're a first year teacher, you're not hearing the same thing when you're a third year teacher. And everybody has an individual mentor as well as group studies with books. They're using Harry Wong this year. Through the SEEK grant, we have Modern Classroom Program, Rising Leaders, IPSE Leadership Academy. Principal coach services are new this year. We have a principal coach who's going out throughout the district, Dr. Abrams. And then the national board certification was already in place from last year. We still have our individual learning focus partners where central office administrators both act as support for building administrators. Curriculum support through Dr. Lopez, as you know, outstanding. And then we still have our instructional and climate coaches to support in the buildings. Our benefits are top level. I just looked at a benefit program for my son. It's like $304 a month and a $5,000 deductible. We have a program that is $63 for a full family, and that's medical, dental, vision, life, and long-term disability. It's pretty amazing. The district has an independent pension plan, 403 through the company called Standard, as well as the mandated Office of Retirement Services pension plan. And this just kind of highlights them again. The referral plan, as I said, at staff were paid last page. All right, that is it. We're paid last pay period with the referral plan. So many people have got that $1,000 referral plan, which I think was probably a nice bump in pay. And then the $1,000 stipend continues, and the $1,500 and $2,500 stipends for evaluation in June are still in place. So this is what I've worked with Solomon as far as the HR dashboard that you saw previously in the presentation. This is a retention dashboard. So right now, as of October, we are at 82.99% retention rate. You'll see on this graph that August is like huge, disproportionate, because that's where we usually do all of our hiring, where people retire and resignations as well. What questions might you have?
Yes, trustee Gainsleigh.
Thanks so much, Ms. McCarty. I had a question around class sizes, and I just kind of wanted to confirm for folks who may be watching, the class sizes that you showed, that's the contract maximum. Could
Absolutely.
you talk a little bit about what our actual class sizes are looking like? Are they close to that max? Are they below? And is there some data that we could find in that, around that?
Yep. So it's a variable around the district. So I'd have to like collect the data, but I'm thinking that we're mostly somewhere around in those 20s, if not lower, not all the way up to 25, 28, and 32.
Thank you. I'd be interested in seeing what those are, because we know that that's, really critical.
I'll absolutely get that data.
My other question, and I know that this is not a presentation about our counts, it's a presentation about HR, but I was a little surprised to see the middle school down since it had been up so much. Do we have any sense of where that program or what's impacting retention in that program?
I was looking at that too as well, and I had spoken to Principal Davis because the building is so full.
Yeah.
It's so full, and we're like that, it should be up. And so at this point, I don't have a good explanation for that, other than it's at that point of time on October 9th. And it could potentially go way up. He was talking about students enrolling that very day when I was speaking with him. So we'll see where those tweaks come.
Well, and it was also way up last year, so
Yeah,
maybe it's
that
evening
eighth
out.
grade group was like that bump. So then the high school is up higher. So our thoughts were, okay, the high school's up. So, and the number, like you said, middle school, that the number was so large last year, but those students have moved up.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank
And
you.
our sixth grade numbers are lower.
Thank you.
Other board questions? Yes, trustee Townsend.
So the students that we have increased in this different schools, do we have any information about where those students are coming from?
I did not gather that data for this presentation, but we can definitely look in Power School and find out where those students are coming from. And I could get that same data for class sizes as well as where the students are coming from.
And then in regards to special education vacancies, when we say strategize, is that where are we getting any supports from WISD or other areas just to make sure that we're still meeting the needs of the students?
Yes, so what we're doing is we're working with WISD as well as some contracted services. For example, we have now many psychologists who are on a part-time contracted basis. Some come reference from WISD as well as WISD support, but others are through a contractor that we use called Blazerworks. And we actively have them searching for additional staff right now. Many of the social workers want to be, through that agency, want to be online, but we need them in person. So at this point, and there's not that many. So when we spoke to Blazerworks, they told us that there is like a drought in Michigan of social workers not just special education social workers, but 31A social workers. So the BSW as well as the MSW, they're in high demand.
Other board questions? Yes, trustee Goodrich.
Thank you, Madam President, and thank you, Ms. McCarty. Mine is not a question for today, but I appreciate how you highlighted all of our retention efforts, and we appreciate how critical that is for our district and how important that continuity and experience is. And I know that we've seen data previously, and we've heard from our teachers about the importance of salary, and we know the issues there, and the importance of talking to our legislators about making sure that they get that forgiveness taken care of so that we can begin to address some of the salary disparities. Apologies, I'm coming off of a summer of negotiating my own contract as an educator with an administration that could not have been more clear about how disposable and insignificant we were. And it really, it just highlighted for me as I was looking at this one thing that's hard to make a bullet point out of in retention, but that I think is so important and I know is part of the culture of our district, but we can't ever lose sight of is how important it is that all of our staff have voice and a space in our collaborative community, because we are truly stronger together and we need the input of everyone at every level of the administration down to I appreciate that it's custodian, that we're doing custodian recognition. My grandfather was a custodian and had some of those pieces that were critical to keeping those buildings working. And I just want to highlight, I know that we all know this in this room, but how important it is that we always respect and create a safe space for that kind of collaborative two-way communication so that all of our staff at every level have the opportunity to highlight issues, to have their voices heard. It was so valuable when we spoke with transportation, when we got to actually talk with some of the bus drivers. And I know that our union leaders have a big, this is a two-way communication. They have a big role there as well. And I appreciate that we've got strong labor representation. And I know keeping that communication open and keeping that mutual respect and collaboration is just so important. And I would love in some future iteration of this for us to hear some of the ways in which and highlight some of the ways in which our teachers and staff within the buildings are being heard and recognized and contributing, because that is nothing has ever made me want to leave a job I love more than not feeling heard or valued. And I know that we don't have that culture here. And I just want us to be very open and loud about that.
Thank you very much. And we do work really closely with the union leadership. There absolutely is a partnership with Voice, Choice and Agency, just like you said. And, Ms. Tillerson's here. behind me. Am I saying the right thing, Charlotte? So no, we absolutely do work. I find that that's, to me, being transparent and cooperative and collaborative with the union is a far better road than trying to fight your union during negotiations and not respect their voice.
I have one more question. I'm sorry, is that okay? So, along with what Trustee Goodrich is stated, on this last presentation, there was something about an example of a town hall. And I think getting back to the collaborative work with transportation, I did think that was beneficial just because we could get a better understanding of what the challenges that they had. When we talk about culture and districts and things like that, is that something worth having a conversation about even with staff so that we can, sometimes hear inside information as far as not necessarily inside information, just understanding what some challenges they may have and then making it more so that they can feel as if this is truly a team work environment and how we can better support them when we're making decisions on behalf of them individually. Just thought.
Right. So monthly, the two unions bring building concerns to HR and we meet on a monthly basis and attempt to resolve or strategize for resolutions for those things that the buildings are feeling, that they get reported, as well as the buildings have the building networks. And then the leadership network and then the district network. So as long as the building networks communicate things to their leaders and to the DN, that's also a venue for potentially hearing more voice and looking at the needs for the individual buildings. But for the unions, as far as the unions, they bring us monthly concerns, both the support union and the teachers union.
It would be good, even if when we get to talking about surveys and things like that, just to understand what's working, what's not working. So we can make sure that it's consistent going from the top to down to the buildings and things like that.
One example of how we do that now, not completely, but just one example is when we have new teacher orientation, we do an exit ticket for wishes, pluses and wishes. And we heard from the teachers, the new teachers, that they were looking for more training as far as Power School registration gateway and stuff like that. So we're collaborating on how to incorporate that into the new teacher orientation. So we try to do those kind of things, but thank you very much.
Yes, trustee Fields.
I have a question, kind of like on your own. Do you have any like data where, because we always talk about teachers and teachers are beautiful and they're very important, but we know that other positions are as well are just as important, like bus drivers, like custodians, we're talking about them, but do we have numbers where any of them, or are they even offer any sort of professional development courses to enhance what their skills are? Because just because they're managers or bus drivers, we know that those skills can be enhanced as well. They can learn other things that will also help retain them or help them further their, goals and whatever they want to do. But do we have anything like that?
As far as professional development for transportation.
Yes, and do we have data to show how many are actually participating in that?
So we do not have the data like that, but we do have the professional development. So right now, Ms. Beverly Watley is working on a 4-part series for de-escalation, both with, parents and students on the bus, as well as strategies for, less stress in the bus. So she's working on that. She's already done one part of that series. So she's going to add those 4 additional parts of the series.
So
And-
so we have opportunities for everyone to enhance whatever skill that they have.
Yes.
That everybody has an opportunity to enhance that.
Absolutely.
And encourage that, and we don't really have data for that, you saying? I mean, we don't really look at that to see how beneficial is it, or is it working or not? Do we have,
We do not have that data right now, but that's something that we could easily collect at the end of each professional development. Yeah. Okay,
We have,
and then
we do
also,
have the data from after each professional development, they give feedback. We do have that. She's talking about how many of the drivers or custodians are in. And we don't have teachers either, like how many. They have to get them for sketches. We don't have exactly, if we offered conscious discipline, how many would take it, because we do it in our system called
Teach Point.
Teach Point.
Mhm.
And so that's where they collect it for themselves, but we don't want it to be like, we have to make you. It's offered. And so that's why we don't have it. They do that for self-directed, and they keep it for their own, for their jobs. A lot of them, like for the custodian and for the drivers, they actually got incentives and could get additional pay to attend those. So we incentivized it, but didn't say, okay, if you don't go. So it's to kind of be positive. Yeah.
Still want to know how beneficial it is. How many people are participating?
Well, we got the
Like,
feedback on the feedback on if they felt it was beneficial and what more. So we do a lot of pluses and wishes. So what they liked about it, and then what they had hoped, and what maybe is a gap. So that's what she was meaning, the pluses and wishes. So we get from them what they needed. We went to the transportation meeting. They talked about what training they wanted from inside transportation, but then outside, they've asked for Ms. Watley. They haven't wanted some of the outside, so that's why she mentioned her. So we're getting feedback from them about what they want, and it's scheduled because they wanted it, that they asked for it, not because the district gave it.
Right.
That's good, but you like, we talk about the teacher and consider it as month, but we want to make sure like everybody has, you know what I mean? And I don't hear that as much, you know what I mean, the data, and that's why I was wondering about that. If all opportunities across anyone's, we wanna-
They are, one thing to add is a lot of our grants, like SEEK, you can't pay for anyone but educators. LEAP, certain ones with Michigan Department of Ed, you can only pay for the teachers. So you hear a lot of that because some of those others are additional funds or we have to look for extra. Because if it's from, unfortunately, Michigan Department of Ed it is only funded. And I'm bringing this up because the support union really, we had to talk about it because they said, well, why are you giving these people the incentive? And the PD is because that's where the funds are focused for the classroom. So you're going to hear a lot more because we have a lot more funds through our SEEK grant, our LEAP grant, and our title funds that can pay for the professional development of those categories. So that's why you hear a lot more. All the rest of them get their training. We're very fortunate, like Annette is CPR, she can teach the CPR. And so they've talked about specifically what kind of training they want. And when they ask for it, those are the ones that they are getting in addition to what they already have. So every PD day is individualized for every group in the district.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Any other board? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, trustee Fields. Did you have something else?
That was all I had.
Oh, okay, perfect. Any other board questions? Thank you so much, Ms. McCarty.
Thank you.
Next, that takes us to our public comment section for this evening. Ms. Haynes, are there public? Thank you. So before we call the first person up, I'd like to read the public comment protocol, which reads as follows. Pursuant to Board of Education Policy 0167.3, the board recognizes the value of public comment on educational issues and the importance of allowing members of the public to express their views. Please limit statements to 3 minutes in duration. Participants shall direct all comments to the board and not to staff or other participants. No person may address or question board members individually. All remarks shall be made in a respectful and professional manner. Sarah Condry.
I promise I will keep this as short as I can. My name is Sarah Condry. I have 2 kids that go to WISE, and I'm actually here to talk to you about the transportation and communications issue. So we know that there's issues. We know kids are getting home late. We know kids are getting picked up late. I could complain all night, but I won't. That my kids got home at 6 p.m. last week, that they're on the bus for an hour car sick. But the issue we're really having is that there's not enough communication. We don't know when to be at the bus stop. The schedule that we got at the beginning of the year is different than the one that was printed out and given through the bus drivers, which is an hour different than the Bus Tracker app has. And the Bus Tracker app is part of our problem. We have a lot of parents that have different schedules. They don't have as flexible jobs as I do. I'm incredibly lucky that I have a boss that will let me disappear and reschedule everyone's meetings in the morning to make the bus or to leave early and stand for an hour in the rain because I don't know when the bus is coming if they're on a sub bus. They haven't figured out how to do that transition, which I know is possible. I've been in another school district. I know you can switch to a sub bus number, but you have to do it. It's hard to do. We have a lot of parents who are giving up. They're leaving jobs or they're rearranging their entire schedules and really losing a lot of reputation by having to show up late because they're driving their kids to and from school every day. We have students who are missing out on family, extracurricular, and religious activities after school. They're getting home with just enough time to eat dinner, maybe do homework if they have it, and go to bed. I know my own kids are in an extracurricular and we are usually 20 minutes late. That's the same day that I don't have a car, you know. So we are really asking for communication. We need to know what time are we actually expected to be at the bus stop to get our kindergartner that can't get off without us? When can we actually expect it to arrive? You know, my kids are arriving to school late every day, which makes me pretty upset. They're missing that morning circle soft start thing that they do. And then they're getting home so late they can't do any childhood activities. And we could go with the flow. We know you guys are working really hard with transportation to really get it figured out, to get the more drivers in, to incentivize them being there every day. We know you're doing that, but we're not seeing any of it from the parent perspective. We can't tell what's going on and we can't plan for it. A lot of parents don't have the flexibility. You know, if you can't tell your boss, I always need this time. But it's like, I actually need to be gone for this hour and a half because I don't know when they're going to arrive. It becomes a problem. So we're really asking for that to be made clear. Some of these things are simple, like I only found out last week about the 3-day bus absence rule. Where if you're not at your stop in the morning for 3 days straight without calling them, they take your stop off of the transportation list and they don't service you until you call them and ask them to come back. That's not told to me when I started at the school district. I found out when the bus just didn't come one day because they had ridden with friends so they could get there for breakfast and soft start. And I know I'm asking for a lot. I know the whole communication thing, that's a whole other set of tasks you have to do, and I know that that's hard. But I think it's worth it because you'll have parents that are a lot more engaged, a lot more willing to go with the flow, a lot more patient. And I also want to make sure you know, there's a huge number of parents who want to help. They're offering to volunteer to consolidate these bus routes to help figure out where the stops actually make more sense. How to raise funds to incentivize these bus drivers. Some of us are saying, hey, you want me to get in there in that app and figure out how to fix it so that it works really well? Take my time, I will help you. But we need some support from administration to make it happen. Thanks.
Thank you, Sarah Condrey. Next, that takes us to a request for a closed session. And before we take a motion, the Board of Education will go into closed session and come back to this room and reconvene into open session. Is there a motion at this time?
Madam President, Vice President Lee, move that the Board of Education go into closed session pursuant to Section 8H of the Open Meetings Act to consider material exempt from discussion or disclosure by state or federal statute.
Thank you. A motion has been made by Vice President Lee. Is there support for this motion?
Trustee Fields, I support.
Thank you. Supported by Trustee Fields. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. The Board of Education will convene into closed session at 7:47 PM.
Oh, the magnet grant, so they said. Oh,
Oh, no. Oh, I've moved again.
so I'm gonna, I am gonna get announced the name. So that's it, cause we got the email during the meeting, we just.
Okay, that's exciting.
No.
Oh, okay, it's like personal. Well, I got the good one.
Don't worry.
Okay.
He's got it going.
Okay, perfect. The time is 8:54. The Board of Education is reconvening back into open session. The next item on the agenda is our consent agenda. Is there a motion at this time?
Oh. And there's somebody.
Madam President, move that the Board of Education approve the September 11, 2023 special board meeting minutes. 2, personnel matter as per the presented list dated 10/10/23, new hires, resignations, and termination.
Thank you. A motion has been made by Vice President Lee. Is there support for this motion?
Trustee Schindler, support.
Thank you. Supported by Trustee Schindler. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next, that takes us to action item under Student Affairs. Is there a motion at this time? This is the approval for the HMH Read 180 Universal Professional Services Proposal.
Madam President, Trustee Fields, move that the Board of Education approve as presented the HMH Read 180 Universal Professional Services proposal for trainings for YCMS ELA curriculum for $34,800.
Thank you. A motion has been made by Trustee Fields. Is there support for this motion?
Support trustee Goodrich.
Thank you. Supported by Trustee Goodrich. Any discussion on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next, that takes us to action item under number 11, action item under Human Resources, Personnel Matter. Is there a motion at this time?
Madam President, I move that the Board of Education approve the employee separation agreement as presented.
Thank you. A motion has been made by Trustee Goodrich. Is there support for this motion?
Support trustee Gainsleigh.
Thank you. Supported by Trustee Gainsleigh. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? That motion carries. Next, we have action item 11A, resolution. Is there a motion at this time?
Oh, we'll do the first one.
I already did mine.
Oh, my apologies.
It's okay.
I was logging on my apologies. I move that the Board of Education waives the investigator-client privilege as to the investigation report prepared for the board by Raymond Corporate Investigations. The board's waiver of the investigator-client privilege is strictly limited to the investigation report and its exhibits and does not apply to any other document or circumstance.
Thank you. A motion has been made by Trustee Schindler. Is there support for this motion?
Support, Vice President Lee.
Thank you. Supported by Vice President Lee. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next, that takes us to business and finance action item, and this is a resolution for our school bond qualification and loan program. Is there a motion at this time?
Uh,
12.
Madam President, this is trustee Gainsley. I move that the Board of Education adopt the presented resolution to authorize the annual loan repayment activity application for the former Willow Run Community Schools.
Thank you. A motion has been made by trustee Gainsley. Is there support for this motion?
Support Townsend. Trustee Townsend support.
Thank you. Supported by trustee Townsend. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? That motion carries. Next, that takes us to number 13. And this is the acceptance of the National Principals Month Resolution. Is there a motion at this time?
Madam President, I move that the Board of Education approve the National Principals Month resolution as presented.
Thank you. A motion has been made by trustee Goodrich. Is there support for this motion?
Trustee Fields and support.
Thank you. Supported by trustee Fields. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? That motion carries. Next, that takes us to our second public comment portion for this evening. Ms. Haynes, have any public comment cards come in? Thank you. Thank you so much. Next, that takes us to our discussions. Are there any Board of Education subcommittee reports at this time? Trustee Goodrich.
Thank you, Madam President. I just wanted to report out on the legislative breakfast. I along with President Hawkins attended online, and we also had Superintendent Zachary Ross and Trustee Townsend there in person. So YCS was super well represented. And both Senator Irwin and Representative Wilson were also there at our most recent October legislative breakfast. Apologies, my notes were not as good as usual. I had some audio problems being online, but I think many of us got the AI assisted notes that Superintendent Zachary Ross was taking through the Zoom call. But we heard some great updates on the Grow Your Own program, which I know has done some amazing things in this district. And we also heard a lot about the promises of debt relief in the revised budget due next month. But we all need to keep pressure on that. And we also heard from our representatives just about the importance when we're reaching out of making sure that we're including bill numbers so that we're very specific on where we need their support and how we would like them to support us. But that's kind of brief. If any of the other attendees have anything that you want to add, I'd welcome it.
I think you did a phenomenal job summarizing the legislative breakfast, so thank you.
Oh, and I forgot, I'm so sorry. The next one is coming up on January 22nd, so you can put it on your calendar bright and early again.
Thank you, trustee Goodrich. Any other subcommittee reports? Yes.
Not necessarily a report, but I have a question. Since we have new company doing our communications, and then since I am the chair of the communications team, I'm just wondering when we're gonna try to plan, what is the plan for that? For me is,
It's a date schedule.
is it, okay, so there'll be, okay. I think I might have it, but I just wanted to make sure that's what it was.
Perfect.
All right.
And they plan on
That's my
working with you on the 10-year and all those.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, it's tomorrow. I didn't realize.
Is it at 5:30? Okay, I did see something on my calendar for 5:30 tomorrow, so okay.
I missed that. I missed.
Okay, I have a lot of meetings, so I just didn't know which one that was.
Yes. All right. Yes,
I missed that.
Vice President Lee.
First, Head Start policy
Mm,
meeting will be tomorrow, so I will let you know next month what's going on.
Thank you, Vice President Lee. Any other subcommittee reports? Yes, trustee Gainsley.
Thanks. I didn't make notes, so I'll have to improv. But trustee Townsend and I attended the Operations and Finance
Mhm.
Committee meeting last week. We had, I think, a good discussion around, I believe we have a purchase agreement coming our way around the Cheney property. That,
Yep.
allowed to say that?
We have the purchase agreement. Yeah, we just
do.
gotta move to the.
And we did have some, some questions about that for the county, but I feel like, in general, or enthusiasm about moving forward. There were really just a couple of issues a couple of oversights that we are correcting. And I know that the team has been working hard to make sure that purchase agreement is full and complete. We also had a conversation about some of our existing properties, kind of a recurring conversation about our, vacant
Mhm.
properties and a couple of the properties around the district. And I believe we also discussed with the administration a proposal for, some what our future of our buildings look like. Some of that conversation that we started at the retreat, we
Mhm.
continued, and I believe our administration is going to be coming forward with a proposal around what, at least what the next school year, if there might be changes in the next school year and what a longer term plan might look like. So we'll be bringing the full board together on that. My other subcommittee report is from the Ypsilanti Community Schools Foundation, and the big news is that it is mini grant season. So if you have educators in your life, I'm just gonna say it here. I know we've been emailing the educators. I'll go ahead and share it out after this meeting. The mini grant application with board members, just so you're able to talk to the educators about it. But we really encourage educators to apply to YCSF for a mini grant. This is an opportunity for educators to do cool things with, it's amazing what our educators can do with a few $100s to bring a special project into their classroom. We don't want them spending their own money on it, but we do want them to be able to bring those really special opportunities to their classroom. So mini grants are available. Last year, I believe we put in $10,000 in mini grants to something like 45. I'm looking at Amanda. There's between 40 and 50 applicant or the recipients of that grant. We're excited to grow that program, and it is open right now. That concludes my report.
Okay. Thank you, trustee Gainsleigh. Any other subcommittee reports? All right, that now takes us to board superintendent comments. Any comments from the board?
I had some comments, Madam
Yes, go ahead.
President. So I just wanted to publicly thank the board for the opportunity to attend the NASB conference. We did a very good job and received a lot of positive feedback about our presentation. So that was my first experience with, doing a joint presentation with the board. Is very positive, and it was a good time. Moving on. The other, I attended the MEJC's $1 billion bake sale. I attended with Student Advocacy Center of Michigan. And that is where we had local school districts, other school board members, community members come out to, again, make sure that we are advocating for the education budget, where the gaps are, that those are filled, and namely addressing the debt for not only Ypsilanti schools, but Inkster, Pontiac, and Benton Harbor. And there were some board members there that spoke publicly from Benton Harbor. One of their legislators was there as well. And then, of course, the president of the State School Board Association, Dr. Pamela Pugh, also spoke in advocacy for our legislators to bridge that gap. We also attended the ribbon cut, and I'm sure Dr. Zachary Ross will talk about that, for the YMCA evening daycare program, and looking forward just to attend the MASB conference next month. That's it. Oh, and homecoming was a success. So,
Oh, I saw your pictures. They were wonderful.
they were really nice. I think the students really stepped up their game with their outfits, and I was very pleased to see how our young people looked. The alumni event went well in the parking lot, the tailgating, and so it was just a positive experience, even though we were in the rain. But it was a good experience.
Thank you, trustee Townsend. Other board comments? I'll just echo what, and I'm sure other board members can feel free to jump in here too. The CUBE conference was a huge success. Superintendent, assistant superintendent also were at that conference. It was a great way to kind of showcase and highlight the great work that we're doing in YCS. Many people were asking if we could take our show on the road and be consultants. So we will take that under advisement for a small fee. So it was a really, really nice time though in Chicago. And it was great to kind of talk about what great work we're doing on behalf of students. That was really one of the biggest highlights for me, is to be around like-minded individuals who were really about the business of kids. And so we had a great time. Our presentation was well received. And it was just a great way to network too as well. So an MASB is coming up in November. So stay tuned for more details about that. And I know Dr. Zachary Ross has a number of different highlights that are going on in the district. So I will pause and turn it over to you if there are no other board comments.
Thank you, Madam President. Just two things based off of what you've already just heard. We just, again, are excited about the YMCA grand opening with the collaborative. We've been a part of that collaborative for 5 years. It's amazing. And so they've been offering the childcare, and now they have extended it to evenings and infant care. And we know that's a gap in this area. So there are still openings. We've sent out flyers about that. And so please, if you have infants and if you need evening care all the way till 9, was it 9:30? 9, I know it's 9 o'clock. It might be 9:30 until 9 o'clock in the evening. So that's that's true evening care. And there are slidable scales and scholarships available. Also, for MASB, I just want to remind those board members who are attending MASB who you are presenting. And so which board members are going to be a part of it, because it's the presentation on equity this time. So it's a little bit different, yet you'll notice the format and everything this is very similar. And I think the tools are very similar. So the board will be very comfortable. Just reminding us to let us know who is presenting. So the PowerPoint is coming out, and if we need practice time, we'll be asking for that. Another exciting homecoming. Congratulations to the both high schools and having a very wonderful homecoming game and whole week assembly and dance. And so thank you to those staff who made that possible. Upcoming this Friday is the Toyota game. And it is we're Ypsi versus Lincoln. And so, we are in partnership with Toyota and with Lincoln. So it's a great way for us to come together. Toyota will bring some cars right outside of Shaffer Field. All of you are encouraged, and all of our staff are encouraged to wear their jerseys that Toyota donated from the first day. It's going to be a little chilly, so you probably need to put something on underneath it. But please wear your jersey. At 6 p.m., the game starts at 7, but at 6 p.m. they will have up to 7 STEM tables. So students can really engage hands-on, and it'll be like a trick or treat. So the trick is the STEM activity, and then they can get some candy for the treat. So we'll have a table there. Both districts with their administrators and board members will be. We are bringing candy to donate, so they'll have something so that we can greet everyone when they come at 6, and then at 7 the game will start. Halftime, both districts' robotics team will perform. It's also senior night. There's a lot going to happen, so it's going to be a very fast halftime, because a lot will be happening at that time. But please come on out and join us this Friday at Shaffer Field. 6 o'clock for the STEM night and candy, and 7 o'clock for the game. It should be really exciting. And then last but not least, I'm just excited to announce that we just got news that we can share even during this meeting. They just sent an email that Ypsilanti Community Schools has received a magnet grant. Yes. And it will impact 4 schools, school-wide. Ford and Homes will be STEAM focused, and we already are working with Toyota. We just talked about Toyota, so this really supports the work. It will make sure that we have it goes with our STEM middle college, and so we'll make sure we have that STEAM focused going throughout the district, K-12. And then at YCMS and the high school will have a section, because we're gonna still offer all the other offerings, a section of IB and both to be able to move K-12 up that way. This is a federal grant, U.S. Department of Education grant for 5 years. So it's not like something we're gonna do and stop doing. This will allow us to be sustained, to have the sustained professional development, because the funds go for professional development, curriculum, staff and materials. And so this is $3 million a year for 5 years. So this brings $15 million into directly for our students and our staff in the curriculum. So we're excited about what this means. We'll be looking, we have a meeting in November to really say, okay, what parts of this, how is it going to be implemented? We work with the staff to talk about, they still have voice, it's a big open, the piece in the application is pretty wide, the words. So how, we always give adults choice. So how things are, like specifically under what areas of STEAM. So for example, Ford has talked about the really lifting the arts and hands-on because it's so young. The young folks, but the staff will talk about, okay, within this curriculum, what parts are we going to make sure PD and all those things we need, as an example. So although it's general about the name of STEAM and IB, it's how it's implemented, even with the tracks and all those will be coming forth later. As the teams go in November to Washington, DC, to talk to the people from the magnet. They give you examples from other professionals on what can happen with the staff, how they have those conversations and how it actually rolls out. So we're excited about that opportunity for our staff, for our students mostly, about the experiences they'll have in the classroom. More to come.
All right, that is excellent, excellent news, and a true testament to something we said even at the CUBE conference. YCS continues to be history makers, game changers, and barrier breakers. So this is very exciting. I know you wrote it down. All right, if there is no other comments from the board or the superintendent,